Hello there, I'm Lindsay Dunn here for one of my stories, breaking down the finale of Stranger Things Season 5 and the show as a whole. Joining me today are a panel of guests. We have, first of all, a now familiar voice, my friend and fellow film critic, Harrison Martin. Welcome back, Harrison.
Hello, everyone.
Very muted response this week from Harrison. Maybe the coffee will kick in soon. And a blast from the past. One of my first connections in the film critic world. He and his podcast co-hosts were actually the first people to ever have me on a movie podcast. It's only taken me 6 years to return the favor. Here's Raul Navedo. Welcome, Raul.
Hey, what's going on? Oh, I will say, though, he was muted, but, what a voice, this guy, right? What a voice. But, hey, it's great to be on. Thanks.
And last but not least, we have a connection from the Fear of God podcast. Her official title is the Foreign Correspondent and Ghoul Scout Troop Leader, someone I really admire. Welcome, Vera Gowdy.
Hi, everyone. Really happy to be here, all the way from the Great White North.
You said it's called the Fear of God. I like the sound of that.
I didn't come up with it, but I will take credit.
Yeah.
Okay, Raul and Vera, since you guys are new to the channel, I'm going to have you share a bit about yourself. You'll also be able to plug any channels you want at the end. But for now, share an intro about yourself, what you do as a podcaster, where people can listen to you. Raul, let's start with you.
Oh, thank you so much for throwing me out there. First, I appreciate that. My name's Raul. I'm from the Minority Report podcast. We're just a couple of film-loving people getting together, a couple of film nerds. I'm Puerto Rican. I went to film school, and I love everything about this. I love watching movies, except Safdie Brother movies. Don't make me watch the Safdie Brothers movies because I'm not going to do it. But besides that, I just love films, man.
Okay, thank you for that. And Vera, tell us about you.
Okie dokie. My name's Vera. I live in Canada, Toronto adjacent, if that's helpful geographically for people. I frequently guest on the Fear of God podcast, and I am a Ghoul Scout troop leader, which means our girls spin-off episodes where myself and fellow troop leader Jess Fishley, we get to pick our own episodes. Last year we did a trilogy of female-led body horror-ish movies, which was a lot of fun. This year, who knows? We have not decided anything. In addition to being on the podcast, in my everyday life, I am a sign language interpreter. My primary contract is working with newcomers to Canada that are deaf, interpreting for whatever their needs are. But I also specialize in con interpreting. So I interpret all the big con events in the Toronto area. And that's kind of my foot into the pop culture because I have to watch literally all of it in order to be good at my job. And I'm a coda, a child of deaf adults.
I love that movie. Yeah.
Yeah, when you replied to my email today and you wrote coda, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a good movie. And then I was trying to remember what it stood for, and it came to me, and I didn't realize you were a child of deaf adults, which explains how you got into that line of work, which I think is so cool.
It's such a cool job, and also I'm so jealous. I want to learn sign language so bad, and that's
Do it.
so
Never
cool.
been a better time. There's so
Yes.
many online options.
I know beer.
Yes.
I learned that in
Very
college.
important sign. Essential, actually.
Okay, so with the intros out of the way, just a reminder that if you, as a listener, want to hear all of our Stranger Things season reviews, you can do so on the One of My Stories podcast. We have reviewed already parts 1 and 2 of season 5, plus both parts of season 4. And today's chat will be a little different. We will talk about the finale, but we also want to celebrate the show as a whole, as this is the one last time that I plan to chat about this, for a while at least. Our previous talks, we have tried to cover all the characters and get everyone mentioned, but since we're adding the whole show, we just don't have time. So everyone will get a chance to share in a variety of topics. We may not cover everything or your favorite, but this will allow us to talk about the stuff that's most important to us. So, we're going to start with just what were your overall impressions of the finale? Do you think they brought it to a good close? I'm going to start with Vera.
The word that I used to describe the finale when it ended was that it was a serviceable finale. I didn't hate it. I think that there's problems with it, but there's a lot that I really liked with it. And it did give us a lot of really satisfying, really cheesy, very easy endings to characters that we've been with for 10 years. And that was nice.
Great. How about Harrison?
I was and still am not, and continually find different reasons to be unhappy with this finale. And there are moments that I did enjoy, but just moments that were tied together with crap. So I'm sure we'll talk more about it.
Oh, dang. All right. I love the honesty. I love the honesty in the room right now. Raul.
When we say finale, we're talking about specifically the last episode, right?
Right. The last chapter, that 2-hour plus movie we got.
Listen, I don't think there's a lot to hate for me. Like, I enjoyed it. It felt like they brought back, I've been saying this about the whole season. It just felt like they brought the spirit of D&D back. And as a D&D player, like, I love D&D, like, I appreciated that. And so the finale, though not perfect, it has a lot of flaws, it felt the most true to what I fell in love about the first season. And so for that, I just felt like there was more to love about this episode and this finale than there was to hate.
Say overall, I was satisfied. I thought it was a fun ending. I saw it in the theater, and that was, for the most part, very enjoyable. The downside was that, which usually seems to be my fate, I was seated directly behind somebody that was on their phone the entire 2+ hours, taking screenshots of the movie, texting, looking on Instagram. It was very annoying. But seeing it in the theater was very exciting because the crowd was reacting to almost everything. That definitely brought the energy for me. I feel like they concluded on a strong note. For the most part, let us know where everybody's at. That is key to the plot, and that it just felt that my questions for the most part were answered. I think we might all have critiques about things we wish they had addressed that they didn't, things that were sort of left open-ended. So I thought it was a fitting ending, and like Raul said, kind of brought it back to where they started us, even with some of the songs they were using, the musical cues, sort of wrapped it up and brought it back to that original thing that happened in season 1. So for that reason, all those reasons, I thought it was a strong ending. Okay, so our first round of talking points is going to be about our top 3 moments from the finale, and we were all instructed by me to bring extras in case yours is taken by someone else. So the idea will be, by the time we're done, we'll have mentioned 12 highlights from this finale. So Vera, you get the first pick for this.
I didn't list mine in any particular order, but the first one. So when Elle calls Hopper dad in the scene by the tank, but during her speech where she says, like, you have to trust me, and she says, like, you've been a good dad, and she finally gives him that label, and I thought that was a very sweet moment.
Can you say a little more about it?
I love their relationship and how it's grown throughout, and especially within this last run of episodes, they really flashed back to the loss of his daughter Emily, and how he's tried to not replace her, but also to be a father figure to Jane, and that she finally feels at home enough to return the familial label to him. I thought was a really nice touch.
I didn't realize that was the first time she called him dad.
I agree. It was a nice moment. It stood out. They really made a point to like linger, and I thought it was nice. I thought it was sweet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was
there
nice.
There were some moments. Go ahead.
I was just saying it was nice to have, in a lot of season 5, they had been, a lot of the scenes with Hopper and Eleven were focused on them arguing. So yeah, agreed that it was nice to have that sort of set aside for the moment.
Yeah. I think a lot of moments in the show felt forced, but this one was one of the ones that I thought was just like, that was all right. I liked it.
Yeah, their relationship has just been a really big focal point of the series all along, and so I just thought it was really lovely. And in again, a season like you said, Raul, it felt like every 10 minutes somebody was giving some sort of emotional speech.
Yeah.
And it was a lot, but this one felt earned.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Harrison, what's a scene you want to shout out?
Well, it's really hard to come up with 3, but I'll see if I can get there. So I'll start with my favorite scene is probably Holly and her friends playing D&D at the end, kind of, showing the next generation of kids down in the basement coming up. And I felt like that was kind of emotional, especially like having Mike look down at them. That was pretty great. My only issue with that scene, even though I liked it, is that I felt that Lucas's little sister should have been there as well.
Erica,
yeah. I think she's around the same age as Holly.
I think
feel like
she's a little bit older.
She's in middle school, right? What grade is Holly in? Because Erica knows about Derek, a dipshit Derek as well. So that's why I assumed they were all similar in age. But that's my only.
I think she's older, but I dig what you're saying. Especially, I think it would have taken something away from Holly's like of being someone that takes lead, which I really appreciated. But in the same respect, we know that Erica loves D&D. And she never had a crew. So I like that. Like, there is something that, like, she should have been there that would have been cool. Even though they're younger than her, this can be her crew to play D&D with since she hasn't had that the whole show. So
I thought it would be cool if she would, like, DM'd it, and then Holly could still be the leader of the party.
yeah, totally.
No, I feel like Erica joined the high schoolers in that season 4 game, so...
It was so short-lived. It was so short-lived.
When you're young, when you're that age, you always want to be older and be one of the older kids. So, yeah. I didn't feel that same way. I mean, I don't have the emotional pull that I think a lot of people do with D&D. For a lot of people, that meant so much. And somebody said it was a Toy Story ending. Or Toy Story 3 ending, because I guess at the end, I've never seen any Toy Story movie, but apparently at the end of the last Toy Story.
Oh, pause.
Skipping over that.
Stranger Things can take a backseat for a second. You haven't seen any Toy Story movie?
It's one of those films that I mean to revisit. But
Listen,
Harrison, I hate it when you look at me like that.
The Toy Story movie came out 30 years ago.
Listen, to everybody I know, I'm like the king of hating on animated movies, but even I've seen I can't tell you how Toy Story 3 ended. No clue, but I've seen it.
You need to watch those before 5 comes out, and I'm going to make sure that happens.
Right. Well, apparently at the end of Toy Story 3, which is that's the last one for now, right? Or was there Toy Story 4?
No, there was a 4.
Okay, at the end of one of the final Toy Stories, the younger kids are playing with the toys that the older kids used to play with or something.
Andy gives his toys to the new girl and he goes off to college. So people are, I assume, saying like Mike is like Andy, giving up D&D for his younger sibling.
And the torch, yeah.
Right, yeah. Okay, my altogether favorite scene from this finale was the rooftop scene at the radio station with the older college kids. Everybody knows Steve is one of my favorite characters anyway, so he's in that group. And we've got Nancy, Jonathan, and Robin. And they're all chatting about what they're doing now that they moved away. And I've had conversations like that. I felt those bittersweet feelings of being with your group, and you're kind of in that in-between phase of not fitting in there anymore, but yet not fitting in anywhere else the same way. At this point, now that I'm almost 50, I really don't connect with anybody that's from high school anymore. But it was just a great scene and a great needle drop with Sweet Jane. I love that song. And that's about that time when their conversion was starting to happen from the 80s music over to the grunge. That just really got me in my feels.
It was a really nice sort of transition from elder teens to adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
I love all of the comments online about how them setting up that meeting, they're probably only going to have one of them.
I think.
At her weird
Listen,
uncle's
I was having the exact
happens.
same thought until Lindsay says she's almost 50, and I was like, what is she? Her math is wrong.
49, guys. 49. I just turned 49.
No, you're not. We
just
stop playing.
You were just 42.
What?
Wow. You were just
49?
Wow.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure we had a conversation about this like a year or two ago, and you were like 43 or something.
All right, so that leaves us with Raul. What's your top scene you want to shout out?
My top scene is the battle scene. Like, this scene to me was incredible. It was action-packed. It, again, harkening back to, like, the whole like D&D of it all, like it felt so D&D and so fun. This like, let's come up with a plan. Usually in D&D the plans don't work out that well, but in this one it just happened to work out so beautifully. And this whole thing, watching Elle come in and like her whole like running and leap and like, and then like she lands and she like rips him down, you know, from his like floating thing situation. But that whole thing was like, I was like, whoa. And I just rewinded like 4 times. It was so dope. And then them being like, yeah, we just got to get rid of its hit points. And Steve being like, which Steve is my number 1 favorite character, but Steve being like, what are you talking about? Hit points. Like, look at this thing. And then Robin being like, Godzilla over it. Like, the comedic moments in it were so good. And then their plan, like, yeah, and then Nancy being like, I'm going to be the one that leads him to this place. Y'all go do your thing. And then her stepping on, like, Nancy taking control. I've not been a huge Nancy fan before. This season, I was with Nancy. I liked it. Yeah, this whole situation was so fun. You know, seeing Nancy almost get eaten, and then the flamethrower come in, and then them throwing the balloons with the gas, and what's it called, the flare coming in to be effective.
The flare gun.
It was, and then the 2 boys underneath being like Freddy and like stabbing it, and were those eggs underneath? I don't know, but they were like chirping or something. Like, listen, this whole battle scene to me was so hype, so D&D coded, and so fun. And yeah, I dug it so much.
I'm glad somebody liked it. I hated it. So much.
You hated it? My only issue with it is I was expecting, like, the smoke stuff is still coming out of their mouth. So I was expecting a second battle to happen with like smoke.
That's part of the I didn't like, because the Mind Flayer in all previous seasons has been shown as a smoke monster. And during
Except
this fight,
for
I was like,
when he comes to our world and he's this monster that's chasing
he made
them down
himself
the street.
a flesh body.
Player, yeah.
Yeah, so
Right.
I was like, oh, so he's using Vecna. Somehow he's created himself a physical body. And I was like, oh, once they destroy his physical body, he's going to revert back to his smoke form. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
Also, the Mind Flayer has psychic abilities that doesn't use at all throughout the fight. Plus a bunch of other things like the Demogorgons, the Demobats, none of those. And also, there's like 8 people taking out a Godzilla-like thing. Why were we afraid of this?
The lack of creatures on the planet could be seen as a plot hole. Maybe, you know, how the meat flayer made itself from pieces of living flesh in our universe. Maybe it made itself from the creatures that lived in that world, and that's why we don't.
That is a great explanation. That is a fantastic explanation.
It's my fan theory that they didn't
should have
explain
said
it all.
He, thinking he would win, he got all the demo creatures that were left and made this body for it. But nope, it's just like they even asked the Duffer Brothers the question. They said, "Oh, he didn't think anybody would attack him, so he didn't call him." I'm like, well, that's a terrible answer. You should have been answering the question for, because that would have made more sense.
I love that. I love that theory. I'm digging it. If we put the logic over there, come on, it was a fun action sequence. It was a fun sequence.
I agree that Dustin and Steve under the Mind Flayer does feel very D&D. It feels like a move that players would make, and the DM is just like, "What are you doing? You're going to get 100%."
Like,
those pustules are full of poison, but they're just like gung ho. I did feel very familiar.
It was so fun, and then. Yeah, them. Also, everybody keeps asking this question, like, why were we so scared of the Demogorgons? Like, why all of a sudden are they so easy to kill? It's because, like in D&D, these characters have leveled up. They are no longer level 1, whatever, fighters or whatever. They have leveled up, and now they got bigger guns, bigger abilities, more health, and they can take care of these things, man. In D&D is like 4 tiny people taking care of a dragon. Like, it happens.
The only person who has leveled up in the normal people is Nancy. Nancy becoming excellent shot.
Rambo.
Everybody else, I feel like they're basically the same.
They're different classes, man.
They're
different classes.
They've had. I agree with that. They have experience, and I think there's also the theme, and this is something we also see in the Stephen King universe with Welcome to Derry, and it is that there's this sense that one of these people would not have been able to defeat this creature, but because of their friendship, their teamwork, their camaraderie, they all come together and as a team defeat it. I had this scene as a potential one that it wasn't in my top 3, but it was going to be named, you know, if somebody else didn't mention it and I needed an extra one. I liked it. I thought it was exciting. I also liked the entry of 11 through the creature's throat. Like, she's jumping towards it. You think she's going to enter through its mouth, and no, she goes under into that little cave. Like a little Jonah and the whale situation for 11 here, going inside, defeating Vecna inside this creature. Plus, you had Will entering it from the mind. You had all these different people approaching this thing from different angles and different sides. It was the cumulative effect of all of their friendship that defeated it. So it worked for me. All right, so that brings us back to Vera for your next top 3 moment.
My next moment is kind of a blink and you miss it in the epilogue, but it's when Steve visits Dustin in college. Pulls up with the truck and the trailer, and they kind of hug, and it feels like they're going to go on a buddy road trip, and it's like father and son. It's really nice.
I have a feeling that Vera and my moments are a very emotional in nature, as opposed to the badassery that Raul is mentioning.
How dare you put me in a box? You don't know. I love that moment. The best relationship in the show is those two.
100%.
The greatest relationship throughout the show, the series as a whole. They have so many of my favorite moments. Like, yeah.
I when you said that, I thought, what? When did that happen? But now I'm remembering, yes.
It really is a blink and you miss it scene. It's so short.
It's really nice.
So satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so Harrison, what's your number 2 moment?
And this is a scene I didn't really care for in the when I saw it, but afterwards it made more sense to me. So that was Dustin's graduation speech, his valedictorian speech.
Yeah.
And like him just kind of going off and saying all those things about the principal. Like, we haven't even really met this principal. Why are you saying all this stuff? But later online, I found out he's doing what Eddie was going to do at his graduation.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that makes that scene a little more kind of heartfelt to me. So just because of it's a callback to what Eddie said made it a better scene.
Nice, Harrison. I didn't remember that. Is this something that he said in his speech in the cafeteria?
Yep. He said he was going to take the diploma from principal, like give him the finger. So, and basically Dustin just did exactly what Eddie said he was going to do. And when I first watched it, I'm like, this is kind of out of place for Dustin. But in seeing that people have the side-by-side comparisons online, I was like, okay, now it's a sweet moment.
It's maybe out of place for Dustin seasons 1 through 4. Dustin this season has been a jerk the whole season.
Yeah, but
he's had attitude this whole season.
In that part of the story, he was in a better place. He's kind of come out of that. So it was
sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that moment, man. That's one of my moments. Gosh, I love it. What a great speech. This guy's giving a performance like, wow. I love this guy.
Okay. So my next scene is going to be the dinner at Enzo's between Joyce and Hopper. This is something that when I say we, like with Harrison and Daryl last season, we kept talking about they needed to have the dinner at Enzo's between Joyce and Hopper. Maybe it would be the after credit sequence of them just eating breadsticks at the restaurant. I didn't care that much about the actual proposal and the engagement, but just the fact that they got their dinner, I just have to call it out as one of my favorite scenes because it's something I wanted to see. You know, I'm from Durham, so there's a real Enzo's. It looks nothing like this restaurant. I think it's more of a carry-out pizza place, but they built up this thing about Enzo's to be this very fancy Italian restaurant where you're getting wine and live music
and caviar.
But I just appreciated that they obeyed my wishes. This is what I wished into existence, and it happened. So that was definitely a highlight for me.
I was told not to poo-poo on your scenes anymore, so.
Yeah, I didn't really care about that scene.
I forgot about Joyce and Hopper going to Enzo's, and I was waiting for Robin and Vicky to end up at Enzo's.
Yeah.
Who? Robin and Vicky.
Robin? He's like, sleep there in their scenes?
Robin and her overbearing significant other.
That was a great relationship that they just kind of, what happened to Vicky? I don't know. We don't know. She's just gone now.
They didn't make it.
Yeah. Okay. Raul, what's your number 2 scene?
My number 2 scene is Steve and Jonathan's reconciliation. I love these two. Like, the whole time they've been like trying to be like, I'm tougher than you and I'm more manly than you and I can protect Nancy better than you. And like just this moment of being like, you know what? She didn't need either one of us. And we were just being stupid guys. Like, what are we doing? It just warmed my heart to see two guys being vulnerable with each other.
Mhm.
And I really dug the scene. And again, Steve is my favorite character. Jonathan, not even close. But I just like, we've seen them be so stupid with each other that them being like, yo, it's all good, you know? And like, we still don't like each other, but it's all good.
It's in the genome of the show too that these kinds of conversations happen. We had last season the conversation, between Eddie and Steve, and this moments where these character combinations have a meeting of the minds, or we understand each other now. Yeah, I liked it too. That was nice.
Go ahead, Harrison. Go ahead, tell us how much you hated it. I know. You don't like it.
I
You
thought
didn't.
it was a good scene.
That's a win.
Praise, high
That's
praise.
a win.
Them saying, like, to me is like, I still don't like you. I think that was them saying, I do like you now. We are finally
It really
cool.
kind of was. That's
Yeah,
a
it
guy's.
was like-
That's guy's
It was
language.
like,
Yeah.
we're finally at that point. We're cool. We've both moved past the girl. That was what was kind of keeping us apart. And so that is one of the better like arcs throughout all of Stranger Things. Them starting as basically enemies and becoming friends at the end. Like from that fight in season 1 to now. It's a good moment.
All right, guys. I won this game. Harrison agreed with me, so we can stop now. Move on.
Vera, what's your number 3?
My last one is when Henry finally enters the cave. I think that I'm forgetting his name. Jamie Campbell Bowers. Thank you.
Or Bauer. Yeah.
Bauer. Amazing. Like, he knocked it out of the park with his Henry / Vecna. And that is the moment to me that felt like, with the exception of like one surprise moment that I may mention in a later category, that felt like there were real stakes when he finally overcomes his fear and enters that cave for the kids that were trying to escape. Like, it really felt the tension build in that moment that it didn't have most of the rest of the time, because I felt like there was a lot of plot armor protecting people.
Mhm.
But like those kids, I didn't feel like they had the same plot armor, so I was a little bit worried for them.
So, what moment was your favorite, Vera, in that?
Like literally when he steps into the cave and like Holly looks around the corner and she sees
Okay.
that he's in the cave, and then
Uh-huh.
she's like, dang, they really got to make a break for it. They are not safe in their safe place anymore.
This was actually, I have to agree with you. Like, this was actually the third one I was going to say, so I'll say something
All
else.
right.
But no, that's fine. That's what you're supposed to do. I agree. I just think that the acting of both him and his younger self was perfect. So much of Jamie Campbell Bauer we've gotten, he's been in the Vecna suit persona and sort of hides his face, and he's such a good actor. And so yeah, and this was one of the funny moments that when I was in the theater, the guy that was sitting next to me when he's thinking about going into the cave, he's like, "Do it! You have nothing to lose."
And then he listened. He was like,
Yeah,
yeah,
he
guy,
actually
thank
went
you.
in, but I thought that was a funny reaction. All right, Harrison, what's your number 3?
Again, scrambling for these. This isn't a moment as much as a piece of continuity that I enjoyed seeing. And that was, I think you first see it at graduation. Mike shows up to graduation. Everybody's happy to see him. And they pan to like his mom. And like she has these scars on her neck and chest from when the Demogorgon slashed her. And I was like, that's great that they included that. Even though, yeah, she is better and healed. Like, yeah, those are some deep gashes. They're going to leave a scar. So, like,
They'll leave a scar
most shows,
right up
they would
until they
just-
play D&D, and then they're gone.
There's no
don't
more scars.
ruin it. Yes, I saw that they were gone in the final scene. But when I first saw that, I was like, I'm glad they included that. You know, we can clearly see that she went through a terrible ordeal, and they didn't just have it be like a scratch or something like that. It was like, man, the makeup department did a great job, and then they left. But yeah, that scene of continuity I enjoyed.
I love that your favorite moment was scars. It's just like,
Want to know how I got these scars?
I thought it was very effective. She looked pretty cool. I like Karen Wheeler. I think she's a cool lady. So for my final highlight, I am going to point to Derek waving at Mike in the truck. I thought that was so funny. It's sort of a callback to before when Derek is explaining to Holly and Max about how he knows about Vecna, and then he says, Mike, he's basically my best friend. And then, so when they're driving home, then Mike looks over and Derek smiles and waves at him, and Mike's like, hey. So he's just learning for the first time that, it was like one of those moments where I thought, what? Why is this happening? Does this guy have a crush on Mike? Like, I was trying to figure out, like what was going on. But then I remembered that he said Mike was his new best friend, so that was really funny.
Yeah. Also, some of Mike's best performing is like his reaction to delightful Derek waving at him felt so genuine, like
confused. Yeah.
It was like so great. But yeah, that's a great moment.
All right, so Raul, it's for you to conclude now.
Man, I'm like, so many, y'all didn't touch any of mine, so I'm like, it's a funny moment. Is that my third one? I'm gonna go, and this is probably divisive. I'm gonna go with Mike telling Elle's story at the end, with what he believes, or he chooses to believe happened. It's this really nice moment that they all needed and we needed, because I am a person, like, when I'm watching stories, I have a very hard time when I feel like the hero loses. They give it all and they lose. And especially when it's not satisfying. And we're going to all agree, it wasn't very satisfying the way she went out. And so this made it feel to me like it's what I needed to complete, to not feel like, I think I would feel a lot worse if that moment hadn't happened, if he hadn't taken the time to be like, this is what I believe in. It's a great theory and I'm with it. And then they cut to the sister, Kali, was that her name? Telling her like, I've always known that I was gonna end it, like however she phrases it, which like makes you feel like, oh, maybe she has been kind of putting this together in her own way, whether she thought she was gonna be standing closer to the entrance or not. Like, I don't know. I like how he kind of put that together, and like the wave weapons that would have inoculated her from moving very effectively, and like I don't know. I was with it, and I love it, and I like that he just like helped us feel peace with this hero, this superhero that we had in this show. And if nothing else, I love it because I believe. I do.
Sorry, it's not funny. It's just,
I believe.
It's just meme worthy. Yeah. Any thoughts about that scene?
I also love that she was in Iceland, I'm pretty sure. And so I love Iceland.
Yeah,
so
Iceland. I agree with you emotionally that it's nice closure for her character. Logically, it frustrates me that it feels like it undermines the poignancy of her death in the moment that it had probably happened. Like her sacrifice feels undermined by the ambiguity of the ending to me.
But yeah.
Go ahead.
You go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, did it have to be a sacrifice? I think we have to believe it was a sacrifice. But that's my issue, is that, like, she saves everything. And then, which like, is why, you prefer that she dies?
No, both endings are unsatisfying to me because I want her to have the happy ending that every single other character is shown to have.
Okay, yes, right? I'm with you.
And either her dying doesn't give her that, and her being in Iceland, though a beautiful place, also takes her away from her family and friends, which is also unsatisfying to me.
I agree 100%. But this helps me feel better about it.
Yeah, I agree with the emotional stakes of the scene, like of him like putting together what could have happened in his head, basically, because he's like, wait, those machines are on. She wouldn't have been able to use her powers. And like kind of telling a story and then saying he believes, and then like all the friends like tearing up and saying that they also believe. I think it is a beautiful moment in itself, but like making it ambiguous kind of does take away, like if they had shot the scene better to begin with of her sacrificing herself, because in that moment it's like, oh no, Elle died. It didn't really feel like grand enough because she's just kind of standing in the portal and then goes.
Yeah, like none of the soldiers are rushing to grab her. Like, it's like everybody's like, just watching her.
Like if it was like her and they actually had her, then like she was in the machines were on and like she was using her abilities to push them away and run back through and then goes, that would have been like, oh no, she's gone, like this has happened. But she's just like standing there, and then we get this scene. It's like, oh wait, maybe she survived. But then, like, to make it better, you don't have to have them physically be together. But somebody online said what would have been a perfect ending for that scene is when, like, they put all their D&D books away and they're all upstairs. And as Mike is the last one, he looks back, and as he goes upstairs, and his mom says, "Oh, by the way, you got a postcard." And the postcard is just a picture of the 3 waterfalls. And that solidifies, like, could this be her? And it's for the audience to know, like, we don't see them together, but for the audience, it's like, maybe he'll go find her. Or maybe he'll go look for her.
It's actually from Vicky. That's why we don't see her in the epilogue. She's in Iceland.
It's from Vicky.
Listen, something like that, again, I choose to believe something like that kind of happens, which is not for Mike's sake because he can't know, but when we're looking at this door and he shuts the door, even though the kids are still playing downstairs, there's no lights go out, everything dims.
Mm-hmm.
And I took that as she's watching them with her abilities from afar. You know how when she's watching them, everything's dark, and except for wherever they're sitting or whatever she's specifically looking at is lit up. It felt like everything darkened around it except for the door, which is what she was watching as he left.
Like,
you know, again, this is
me. They should have done, and apparently, and the rumor is, like, that scene, at least the scene of her, like, walking to the place with the 3 waterfalls, whatever, Netflix made them add that. It was like part of reshoots they did. Netflix said, no, you need to kind of let people know that they may get a sequel series at some point in the future. So they shot that scene, and I guess, like, that's not, and, like, whatever Elle was wearing is just that's just Millie Bobby Brown in her normal clothes. For reasons I don't think we need to discuss here, people say, yeah, that's just clothes she had on that day. And they just kind of shot a scene of her walking somewhere and put it in because Netflix said, do this.
It was a good fit.
I'm one of those people that likes an ambiguous ending. It makes the movie something people can keep discussing. And, you know, Harrison, you just brought up examples. I've seen examples. People are talking about that scene now. It keeps people discussing. It can be frustrating, but another thing I'm thinking about is Mike and Hopper have that conversation on the bench, and Hopper says something to the effect of, you have to find a way to be okay with it, a way to make peace with it and to move on. And you could think of it as, well, maybe Mike's just setting this up to believe what he needs to move on. If he knows that she died for their group, that would be so devastating to him that he cannot move on. So he chooses to believe this. And also it sets him up as a storyteller and kind of allows for that meta story inside of a story thing that writers and authors of stories like, that we all tell ourselves stories. And so I think there's something compelling about that. Either way, it's a sacrifice, right? Either she died or she didn't die and is not with her people. So either way, it is a sacrifice. But at
least in Iceland she'll get good ice cream. You know?
I would
and good hot dogs.
If I'm in Iceland.
Victory.
They have great ice cream. They got great ice cream. Listen.
So, like, what Raul said about, like, even if they had done a better job, like he mentioned it gets like a little darker, something like that, let you know, like, yeah, she's watching them. A light flicker, anything. I think you don't need a big thing, just something small that kind of is ambiguous, but you know, if you pay attention to things, you know, like, she's still alive. Even Harrison. If he just, like, tripped on an Eggo waffle, man, or something.
It's there. Go watch it. Go watch it, man. It darkens. Go check.
I didn't want to watch it again, but I might check to see.
Just skip to the end. Skip to the end. It's the last shot.
We're now going to move on. All right. So we are now talking about your top 2 critiques. And Harrison doesn't get any more because he's already named. No. Actually, he's going to get to go first. But this allows us all to say things we wish would have gone differently, or things, genuine critiques. But everybody only gets 2 because we wanted to spend less time complaining than celebrating. At least that's what I like to do.
This is where Harrison's about to go off. Let's go.
So we'd
be here all night.
So we've got Harrison actually gets to go first this time.
My brain is exploding just thinking about this. Here's one that I didn't even think about at the time. They defeat Vecna and the Mind Flayer. They're escaping the Upside Down. They set off the, When Doves Cry Prince track to blow up the Hawkins lab in the Upside Down with the exotic matter. which is going to set off the chain reaction to destroy the whole wormhole, which is what the Upside Down is wormhole. Those pregnant women were still there in the military base in the Upside Down. And they were not rescued. They all died. And that's pretty dark to think about. I guess apparently somebody brought it up to the Duff brothers. Duff brothers said, yeah, they died. And it's like, that's all they can say, because that is something in the writing room that they didn't even account for. They didn't think about, oh, snap, we forgot about the pregnant women. They could have even added a line of Callie saying they didn't make it. But no, all she said before was that her blood was not working. It was making them sick.
I think she does say they were dying. I think she says they were dying.
They weren't dead, though. Even if they were like, yeah, they died. They were going to get a new batch of pregnant women. They forgot to put that in the script. So it adds to the body count of our heroes. And also, in my favorite character, like, well, I guess she did tell, Eleven and Hopper about what was happening to her. Did she not tell anybody else? Hey, by the way, we should go save these pregnant women and get them to a hospital. But maybe, like I said, there's probably going to be a series in the future. Maybe that comes back up and they're like, actually, they were saved. And that is our thread to the new series.
Yeah, it would have just taken maybe like a line of dialogue to say that when Dr. K found the plans about what they were going to do to the wormhole, she evacuated the base.
Yep.
Like, it would have just taken a line to indicate that, and then they wouldn't have been like, I mean, they still would be mass murderers. They killed a lot of guards, but they wouldn't have been responsible for the death of all those pregnant ladies who were, according to Callie, dying. But maybe if they could have been rescued. They should have been rescued.
Yeah.
They should have been acknowledged.
I didn't bring up the fact that they just killed a bunch of military people who were just doing their jobs.
Are we saying the pregnant women were in the Upside Down?
Yeah, because Callie
they were
said
in the
that
Upside Down.
Yeah, they had a
she
lab
was like
in the Upside
10
Down.
seconds away from escaping, right? Like when Elle rescued her, she found out she was 10 seconds away from escaping, and she had run through the rooms with all the pregnant women. So that was in the lab in the Upside Down.
Okay,
Yeah.
I guess I thought the lab was in the not Upside Down, but
it should have been, but they, by setting it there, they now have this horrible thing happen.
I wonder why they put the lab in the Upside Down, just to keep it secret.
Because it served exactly. It served.
Yeah.
They were supposed to be there studying the stuff, but in the end, it didn't make sense why they had a lab in the Upside Down. Like the Russians in season 4, they just brought the creatures back to Russia and tested on them in the real world. They didn't. So
yeah. So first off, like the amount of people that we've left behind when playing D&D is unbelievable. Like a lot of people die. That's first off. Second off, the military would never evacuate those women because they didn't care about them. They weren't producing in the way they needed to, and they would. So if the military had been like, yeah, we evacuate, I wouldn't believe it because it wouldn't make sense. And boy, I get it. Our heroes are heroes, and we want them to save everybody. What a tall order to be like, also go save all those pregnant women that cannot walk from that military facility that might still have people working at it as you're trying to blow up the Upside Down. You
have a psychic powerhouse with you who could mentally.
It's a tall order. He can't carry all these pregnant women.
I'm pretty sure if she can rip apart the stomach of a giant monster, she can easily float some pregnant women into the back of a truck. And
she's always been good at doing things like like in the moment. She's never been good at holding power, like holding something aloft. She's just it's never been her thing. She's like a blast.
A lot of effort to lift that metal plate in an earlier episode. Remember that?
Yeah, and then she had to drop it and then immediately she's like, I don't think she could have levitated it and carried it for 200 yards.
Let's see. I guess my top critique has sort of been referred to already, but all the time they spent building up Vecna as a possible Darth Vader type character to no avail. They really built this up. We knew about the play, and it seemed that they were leading to this thing where Henry would be redeemed somehow. He would have a grand death, and he did die. But yeah, there was no moment. We saw Holly kind of feeling for the guy, and we're thinking they might have a talk together before she just hits him with the fireplace poker. And then we had Will trying to relate to him and bring him to the light. So they had all these moments that felt like they were building up to something, and in the end, he just stayed villain. He was irredeemable, and I feel like that, from a story perspective, that's kind of what I want of a villain. I don't necessarily want every villain to be redeemed, but the amount of time they spent on this, and the amount of theories, now maybe the fandom did it to itself, but I'm just wondering why they put all these things in place if it was just going to end with he's a bad guy and he's going to die. Redeemable, like believing that he doesn't want to choose another path for himself.
Yeah, I
All
wish they
right.
had played up the sort of the difference between Henry and Will a little bit more, in that Will doesn't has access to the Mind Flayer via Henry, like kind of like a Voldemort Harry connection, but he doesn't succumb because he is surrounded by people. He is loved. That is why he's surrounded by people who love him, and he is loved. And so he is able to lean on those people around him for support in order to continue on, like much like how like Frodo feels the weight of the ring and isn't able to bear it alone. And even in the end, like the ring overpowers him, but like Sam is there to carry him the rest of the way. Like Will has those people in his life and Henry has nobody. And I wish they had kind of played with that dynamic a little bit more. I think it would have made his villainy and his willingness to not turn away from the Mind Flayer, but to further embed himself into that. I think it would have been a really great dynamic to show like what somebody who is alone and friendless and evil versus somebody who can be carried by those who love him. But it was kind of not. I mean, like, he's going to use my fears against me, and then he never does. It never comes up. Nobody is mind flayed. Nobody is mentally messed with at all in the last episode. It is all just a physical battle.
Yeah, and I've said this during our last discussion, that I was pretty sure that they were going to try and redeem Vecna. And I think that, like Vader, would have been a better ending for him. Like, you can redeem him, but he's done some very evil stuff. And the only way to redeem a villain like that is in death. And them just like having Will say, oh, he was using you, and then him kind of turning like, no, that's not what happened. He showed me the true darkness of the world. I was like, so then why even include, all the stuff about him as a kid? Because we had a backstory for him previously in season 4, where he was some kind of psychic kid. He ended up in Brenner's lab. They, used him to create the other kids, and then he ended up killing them all, killing all the other kids. And then 11's the one who sent him to the abyss. Fine. He was clearly some kind of messed up kid who got more evil and killed a bunch of other little kids. Then that's fine if you want to leave him evil. But if you want to include the stuff about, he was taken over by the Mind Flayer and he's sympathetic, lean into that. I don't know why they didn't just lean into that. It would have been better for the character.
I'm with all you guys on this one. Like, I think this is some of the worst writing in the entire series. Like, we have this incredible moment where, with the whole, like, Will talking to him and seeing this moment where he first grabbed the stone and it went inside of his body and whatever the situation.
Made him kill the guy.
Yeah. That was wild. But it's insane because, like, Will is like, hey, it was never you. And even Will, it was crazy. Like, this is why I'm so frustrated with this writing, because, like, Will even opens the door for them where he says, like, that's why he didn't want you to go into the cave. And I'm just like, oh, that makes so much sense. He's like, he didn't want you to see that it was never you, that it was him, and you can break free of this. He just didn't want you to see this. And I'm like, wonderful. This is great. And then it's ruined by him saying, no, he never made me do anything. I did it by choice because he showed me. And it's all for nothing. Like, it was all immediately just like crumpled up and thrown into the trash can for no reason whatsoever. Like, it was so, I rewatched it. I've seen the episode twice, and that moment is so far, and it's even one of the best edited moments in the show. Like, this conversation they're having from afar, and it was an incredible performance from this guy. And he's like, "Leave me alone," and Will's like, "No," and they're having this wonderful and then it was so great with him being like, "Nah, I chose to be evil." God.
Yeah. There were a lot of seeds in general with Vecna that were sort of unsatisfying. Like even the parallels with 11, they set that up in season 4 with her attacking the girl with the skate, Angela, and it was kind of showing that same thing you're talking about, Vera, where somebody with powers that is then mistreated and abused has the ability to become a really evil person. But they never closed the gap. You know, there were all these thoughts and ideas placed, but they never kind of brought it all together. And the same thing with Will is that there was a lot of similarities between his story and Will's story, and even like the drawing and all this stuff, but they never fully closed the gap. And this was kind of the moment where they could have done that, because Will said, "You're just like me," and then then he goes, "No, I'm not, I'm evil, I am the mind flayer, and the mind flayer is me." You know, it was just what have we been doing then?
It was caca.
Yeah. All right, so that takes us to Raul. What's your number one critique?
My number one critique is it's them not bringing back Argyle or Susie. Like, what are we doing here? Like what? Like the greatest moment in this entire series is the never-ending story, right? The singing, amazing, and the next best moment is Argyle at the pizza shop talking to the other pizza shop guy, and we're not gonna bring either one of these incredible characters back. Unforgivable. I don't have anything else to say about this. That's it.
I put the never ending story thing in that list you sent me, Lindsay. Like my of all Stranger Things, like, the never ending story song was great, and like Susie, I kind of get Argyle not being in the season because he lives in California and like it's harder to have him come and visit a place that's on quarantine. A way to fit him in the story would have been to have him working with Maury. That would have been a way to, you know, if you need to find a reason to bring him back, that's how you get him back. Susie,
he's in too deep. Like over the radio, this superhero girl, and he's just gonna be like, yeah, cool. I'm gonna go back to smoking weed and making pizza, whatever. Good luck.
Yeah, and like I was expecting, I was like, oh, we're definitely gonna get. I was like, in the finale, Dustin's gonna need some information. He's gonna be like, I'm gonna call Susie. Never happens. Never finds out. And this is another thing with the bad writing, and that people ask about it. What happened to Susie? And all they can say is, oh, well, since Dustin was depressed by Eddie, he probably pushed her away. It's like, well, say that in the show. Say that he was being mean.
Probably. You're the writer.
Yeah, it's like
probably.
Again, you could have put one line in the screenplay to address the fact that Susie is not person non grata all of a sudden. Yeah.
Dusty Buns or something.
I feel like in the previous season, he says like her dad took away her stuff, and so we haven't been able to like I don't know if that's a memory I made up, but I feel like, but like, come on, it's years. Come on, time has passed. Like they're graduating high school now. Like they're still not talking. Like, listen,
or at least have her show up like at college
at graduation, maybe.
And
anything.
They even asked and I'm not sure about the actress who played Susie, but the actor who played Argyle, like they did an interview. They're like, he's like, yeah, I never got the call. He said he was expecting to get a call to come back, and he said they never called me. So
great.
They showed he got like all buff for a role though, and somebody was saying he wouldn't be able to play Argyle because he was too buff now.
He wears a baggy shirt, whatever, and a shirt on top.
It's been it's been years. They could easily brought him back.
Or he's seen monsters and he got buff.
And he worked out.
And he worked out because he's scared.
Yeah. And he could have been there in that last battle.
Or he had to go on the run with a federal agent, so he's now.
Yeah.
All right, Vera, how about you?
Mine ties in with Harrison's slightly in that, why did the army just let everyone go? The army was just like, oh, no, 11's gone. Okay, well, yeah, I guess you guys you're all free to go. You've committed multiple treasons against America. You killed so many of our soldiers. We're short-staffed now. That's why we couldn't run back and kill Elle, because we got nobody else here. So I guess you're all just free to go. The army's going to pack up and leave town, and everything's fine. And that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And I understand that they had to have it happen because they couldn't have all of our characters arrested. But that's another, like, okay, maybe Vicky's serving everyone's time in prison. And that's why you don't
That's
see
what
her
it
again.
is.
I don't know. But I've been thinking about it, and my solution would have been to bring Dr. Owen back.
Exactly. It's like,
Bring
where
him,
was he?
have him come at the last second, have him come with a bunch of soldiers and arrest Dr. K because she's been doing black ops, and she gets blamed for the pregnant women dying in the wormhole that just exploded. Yeah, that's on her too. She gets arrested, and then Dr. Owens and Hopper agree to just bury everything. And then 18 months later, everything makes sense. But without that, nothing makes sense.
People should not be coming up with better endings to your show than you. It
felt very yada yada. Like, okay, well, the army's got everyone. The wormhole closed 18 months later.
Yeah. There didn't seem to be any consequences. Yeah.
Nope. Hopper gets promoted. He's been dead for more than 2
where
years.
was his
but that's
friend
fine.
from his old deputy who became the new sheriff? He was just gone.
Yeah, fired because Hopper's back from the dead.
Also, we don't see Murray.
He's at the
He's
graduation.
sitting beside Mr. Clark at the. It's so quick.
He's
sitting beside Dr. Clark at the graduation.
Yeah.
Mr.
Oh,
Clark.
Him and
I was looking,
Snookums
I
are
was like,
still
Murray
together.
didn't come.
But it's you. He's like
Yeah.
almost kind of off camera. Like
Wow,
you don't see
I
him
didn't
because
see
the
it.
camera's
Wow.
centered Mr. Clark.
I guess the only thing that I could say, which is probably pretty weak sauce, but they were there to find and use 11, and with her not available, they just said, all right, we're done.
You're all free to go and just share the secrets of this black ops operation that's been going on with anybody you want with zero consequence. And then the army served no purpose then. It served no purpose. As an antagonist, then they just fade away.
Yeah.
Like the guy with the scar on his face, I thought that he was going to be a bigger antagonist because they played him up to be he defects and he goes rogue and he's going to just kill Elle and he doesn't care about whatever experiments that Dr. K is doing.
He gets killed.
And in the darkest way too, because she snaps everyone's neck in the room and then has him turn his gun on himself and shoot himself in the face.
Yeah.
That was dark.
It's pretty bleak.
It was so dope.
Yeah.
That gentleman, Alex Bro is his name, Breaux, and he plays Dr. Brenner in the stage play. So I was
So
thinking,
that's why he got this job.
yeah, I was
He just sticks
thinking
to
they
stage play.
did this in honor of him playing that role. But yeah, they didn't give any
Real
of the
quick.
military really great roles.
Is Brenner still alive?
No, he's dead finally.
No, Brenner's dead.
Yeah.
Okay, so he couldn't have come up with the military at the end and been like,
Dr.
Arrest
Owen.
her.
No, Dr. Owen.
Owen. Okay,
Who helped them in the previous season. He helped Joyce and them relocate to California, kept
Okay, so
things
he's
under wraps.
alive.
Yeah, he's alive.
Sorry,
He was
that's
the
who I meant.
good doctor.
Yeah, he's alive. Yeah, I don't know why I thought he was dead.
Well, Harrison, let's move into your second critique.
The one I'm going to bring up because she's my favorite character. I'm a big fan of 8. Very disappointed in how her character was handled this season, especially after the hype of her reveal in Volume 1, which, by the way, between Volume 1, 2, and the finale, Volume 1 is hands down the best part. All the way up to how that one ended, you're wrong. That was the best part. So you have 8 come, and you have the military guy threatening to kill her. And first of all, I don't even want to get into how much Hop disappointed me this season, leaving her there. So he's gonna shoot her. 11 shows up, knock him to the side. The gun goes off, but clearly it does not hit 8. It doesn't hit her. And next time when they show her, she's bleeding like she's been shot. And then she's dead, and it's well, that's disappointing to me. Why would you bring this character back just to kill her like that? But then at the end, we find out, I guess, unless this is all Mike's imagination, that was fake. That was kind of just for Hopper to think she was dead so she could tell 11, hey, this is the plan, because I heard you talking to Hop. I'm going to make it so that you're invisible and you can escape. And she just stays in the upside down to do the plan. But why?
It was always her plan to die.
But I know that was her original plan to die, but after hearing Hop say what he said about, you can grow up and you can have your own kids and you can have it so that they have the life you never had. And she hears that and she sees them being successful, especially at the end. Once they defeat, Vecna, and she can show up yeah, Hop, that was an illusion to make you think I was dead. Me and 11 are going to go off together and hide. Like, she didn't have to die at that point. Like, once they won and she's still fine, she can still use her abilities to, she could have saved everybody. She could have made, like, the whole cutscene empty. Like, she could have left with them, and then her and 11 could have gone off to Iceland. Or, sorry, Iceland.
I think they would have had to write. I think they would have had to write her character completely different, because the problem is that her character feels like she doesn't have anything to live for. She feels like she's like, I don't have anything. All I've experienced in this life is suffering and loneliness. And the people that I loved, which was her crew, all got killed by the military because they found them to be useless, right? Except she had powers. And so for her, I think she just like didn't have anything to live for.
Yeah, but who is the one person left? Yeah. But there's one person left who she has to live for. 11, her sister. They could, like, even if we assume she died in the explosion, if like that scene was like 11 walking up to that Icelandic village, and then the camera pans over and you see Kali with her hair growing back out, because them cutting her hair also made me mad. That would have been, I can be okay with 11 not being with the group if she has 8 with her, because they have now found peace together and they didn't have to die. And I just thought it was a weird, just either they should have just killed her right there, just had the bullet hit her and then she dies, or gone a little bit more to her and concocting a plan of, I'm going to use my powers from afar to save you and not save the pregnant woman.
I think that her fear of how they were going to use them if they were ever found was just so great that she didn't see another way out other than sacrificing her and Elle. Like, she says that to Elle, like, if Dr. K dies, they're just going to put somebody else in her place and the experiments are just going to continue as long as we're around. She didn't know the army was going to dip when they thought that they were dead, and so they could get away scot-free.
Yeah, but also, and at the same time, she found out like her blood isn't strong enough. So actually, she would have been fine. They really just wanted 11, and she let 11 go back out there. So like,
she would
blood probably would have made more people. Like, what are they going to do with Kali? Like, she can make people. She can do the illusion, which I still think they're
gonna keep trying.
Her power set is different, but that's the thing. She would have escaped. They would have concocted this plan so they can both escape and live. But I really feel like they're like, oh, we need to pay this off. Let's bring her back, and then let's not have her do anything for like 3 episodes, and then she's gonna die. And it was like,
yeah,
then
that's pretty much.
Don't bring her back. You didn't really need to bring her back at all. And also, and I thought at Volume 1, I thought they were using her to power their weapon against. No, it was just some kind of sonic weapon that they had.
I did too. I thought. Yeah. Whenever they took her and then the sonic weapons were still a thing, I was like, wait, I thought we took the battery away from the sonic weapons. No.
Yeah. So I'm glad I got to see her again, but I think the poor writing in this season overall hurt the finale for that character.
Yeah, they didn't know how to use her, and so they just kind of let her languish.
Okay, my second critique is kind of a silly one, but I really feel this deeply. Is we had in season 5, we've had Mr. Clark come aboard, and he had his girlfriend who was the librarian. And I really think they missed an opportunity to bring in a librarian as a supporting role for the group, because if anybody understands how things work, it's a librarian. They know how to find the information. They should have brought in the librarian because she could have told them all about Wrinkle in Time. I just think librarians need to be in TV shows more, and they're awesome. So we could have had a librarian character here do something other than just shagging Mr. Clark. That's all I have to say about that.
More librarian representation.
No, librarians don't play D&D. We don't need her in this show.
I agree. We could have seen more librarian.
Well, I'm going to do one that we don't have to spend a lot of time talking about, because I have some that we'll just go on and on about because it's ridiculous. But Steve being single at the end. Like, I didn't see that coming from the beginning of the show. Like, I for sure didn't want him to be with Nancy, but single was never in my wish list for Steve at the end of this show.
With that hair?
Listen, he's this guy. It don't make no sense that he's single, except that again he has Dustin, which is amazing. I love their relationship, but like it's almost like fictional writing to write that Steve is single at the end of the show. It's absurd.
Yeah, I don't think it didn't affect me much that he was single, because they clearly state that he's had many girlfriends that just haven't worked out. Like, if it was that he still couldn't get anyone, or like all the people he tried to date turned out to be lesbians, like Robin, that would have been funny. But no, I think they explained like he's had women in his life, he just hasn't
He's
found
devoted his life to his children.
You know what?
like.
He's
You're
single
right,
dad.
Harrison. It's not even a complaint. You're right.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be the funny. There's going to be a sequel series. We all know there's going to be a sequel series. Just a matter of when. The first image we see of Steve is going to be him, his wife, and like his 6 kids. And
You mean his
I
6
think-
nuggets?
yes, his 6 nuggets. And I think that is what, you know, and I'm pretty sure, and I'm not, let's see, it's not the 80s anymore. So it will be, whoever his wife will be, will have a small role in that series, but it will be a big star. So.
Let's go.
Future's bright for Steve.
Let's go.
Wait,
Also,
what's Steve's last name again?
Harrington.
Harrington.
Steve the Harrington.
The Harringtons.
Steve the
Meet the Harringtons would be the TV show.
I'm with it. I love it. Let's go.
All right, Vera, round us off for the critiques.
How did Max graduate at the same time as everyone else after spending 18 months in a coma?
That
Bro, you're
is
brutal.
actually an easy one. That's an easy one. A lot of people had that critique as well.
Summer
That's
school?
an easy one.
Sure, maybe.
Summer school, sure. Or she's actually smarter than the rest of them.
Yeah, she took
it's
a
not
test.
that hard to
They
get.
have to mention it. They can't just be like, it's fine. Everybody had some trauma. People fell down some holes in an earthquake. It's fine. Just no child left behind. 80s version. Everybody gets to graduate. They have to mention it somehow.
Yeah, I just assume. I mean, they probably had her take a test. She's smart. It's that is 18 months later. You can easily.
It's 18 months later plus physical therapy. She couldn't walk. Her legs muscles had atrophy.
Yeah, her brain
Yeah.
works though. Her brain was fine.
They had her. They say, "Look, you've been in a coma," and she was like, "I was already reading at a 12th grade level before I went into the coma." So,
I mean, she
Yeah.
moved from California, right? And
Which
to
is smarter
Hawkins
people.
and yeah.
yeah.
Okay, we're now going to move into top 3 characters, and I get to start this one off. So my first pick, this is your top 3 characters from the finale, by the way, but I'm flexible, whatever. My first choice is going to be Holly. I wanted to name Holly because people have been complaining about Holly. I thought she was great. I thought her character is super cool. I mean, I'm kind of repeating what I said the last part, but she has all the gadgets. I like her performance. I like her outfit. Love it, love it, love it. I just think that she was a great character, developed her leadership skills. We need more cool girl characters in this series. I'm not going to get tired of that. We need more cool women in film and TV. So I thought it was fitting to have her in.
Yeah, agreed. She's
Holly's
wonderful.
one of mine. Yeah, she was
She
great.
brings that kid vibe back to the show that had
Right.
been missing.
Yeah.
Is this
And she was
specifically
really
the
good.
finale or the whole final season?
Finale. From the finale.
Okay.
Listen,
Yeah.
man,
I don't
she
think
hits
Holly
Vecna in the face
played it.
twice. She leads all those kids through the nightmare.
Exactly.
Like, listen, she's like, I love when she's like, all right, nothing here can hurt you. Don't look. Just keep following me. And then
Yes.
Derek's like, holy shit. And she's like, I said, don't look, Derek. Like, she goes back
Yep.
for Derek. Like, listen, Holly
Yeah.
was dope.
Yeah, I thought it was great, and her kind of using that experience she had with Max. She takes Max's words to heart that she is heroic, even though she was scared. That she takes all that and channels it into helping these other kids get through. She was calm, cool, collected, even when she didn't need to be. So, all right, Raul, you're up. Who do you want to name?
I'm going with Steve. You know,
You're taking Steve, huh?
Steve's the man, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I love this guy throughout this entire show, this series, this season, and this episode. He steps up with Dustin. Not only, even though Dustin has been a little jerk to him this whole season, he still steps up and he didn't have no connection with Eddie. And he still says, you know what? Yeah, this is for Eddie. And then he gets covered in goo. Bad choice. But like, bro, Steve is the man. I'm with him.
Mhm.
And he's single at the end. I can't believe this.
What is wrong with these people? With these women? Yeah. All right, Vera.
I'm going to go with Dustin. I know that he was a little jerk at the beginning of the season, but he has that breakdown, and from there he has a bit of a turnaround, and he really steps up to become a friend and a leader and a hero. And I just loved his FU to Hawkins at the graduation. It was just a nice little button on his character. He's cool.
Yeah. And like I don't even know the actor's name, but like this guy delivers such a
Gatchin.
performance.
Gaten Matarazzo?
Gaten Matarazzo, yeah.
Let's go. This guy delivers such a performance. This
He's
guy,
so good.
if somebody gives him the right role, like I think above anybody else, this is the guy that's going to get nominated for an Oscar. Like if he gets the right role, it's going to be tough because like he's going to people are going to want to typecast him because he's so unique, you know? But like this guy is so talented.
Agreed.
Yeah. Does anyone know what his little fur coat was emulating? His hairy coat?
This hairy coat.
No.
In the final battle, Dustin is wearing this very specific coat.
Yeah. I
furry.
don't know.
Okay. I wondered if it was supposed to be a Mad Max thing. I don't know.
I assumed it was some
That's
sort
what
of.
I would have guessed.
They all kind of looked Mad Max-ish.
Yeah.
All right, Harrison.
Erica, I guess, because of that scene with her and the teacher,
Mr. Clark.
What's his name again? Mr. Clark, and how she curses in front of him. She's like, "This is some end of the world shit. It deserves curse words." So he curses back. That was a little funny scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a little bummed they didn't
never
get
see
more.
them again.
I know.
Yep. They're in jail with Vicky.
Mr. Clark.
I was thinking.
Mr. Clark is one of my favorite characters of the first season, and like the fact that he's so underrepresented, and then all of a sudden last episode they were like, yeah, we're bringing Mr. Clark back, and then this episode they just show the military go into the church and we never see them again. Criminal.
I mean, we do see Mr. Clark at the end, so we know he's alive and well. He's at the graduation, but yeah, it was
Erica too.
Yeah, she's become Dustin's assistant, his centurion. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, back to me. Next character I'm going to shout out for the finale, Henry. And we've already talked about his performance. He's excellent in every season, but this time when he goes into the cave and has that traumatic response going in, feeling panicked, then trying to switch over to being a villain again, and then seeing his trauma played out in front of him, and just all the nuances of how he responded. He had to express a variety of emotions all in a short time span, and I thought he absolutely nailed that performance. Okay, Raul, you're up. Who do you want to call out?
Max, Zoomer Max. She's dope. Yeah, I love so many of her moments, and then I love that at the end she's the one that calls out Mike for the BS ending. I love how angry she gets when like they lose the fight and she's like, this game is bullshit. Like, yeah, like I don't know. Max was dope. Like, yeah. And I really like Sadie Sink. I think she gave a great performance as well. So also
I agree. Clearly the strongest actor in this show.
She's really, really fantastic. Yeah. I really dug it.
Okay, we will go ahead and go to Harrison now for your second choice, I guess.
My top three have basically been taken.
Okay.
Let's see if I can think who else deserves my acknowledgement.
Yeah, you can pass if you want.
I will say Robin.
Okay.
Robin enjoyed her character. Since she's been introduced, I've enjoyed her character, and I enjoyed her in the finale. She still has great line delivery, funny, and yeah, I think another solid actor that this series has birthed. Like her and Sadie Sink, I feel like are on another level compared to everyone else.
Yeah, she had the nice, I guess, monologue in the radio station that kind of opens us up back into the world post Upside Down.
Yeah. Hey, we killed a lot of people and got away with it.
Yeah, I need to watch. I wanted to be able to watch the finale in whole at home without the distracting movie theater experience, but I didn't. I had to just spot check. But yeah, that her little speech was good. She looked really happy, really rested. I thought, yeah, that's when I started asking, oh wait, where the heck is Vicky? But yeah, it was. I was a little confused about where they left her because she's at college. I think she's going to a college, but then she's at the radio station. So I guess she just wheeled into town to go to graduation and went to the radio station to do this thing, her show that she hasn't done in several months. Is that what you guys?
She would have been on summer break. If it's high school graduation, college would already be out. So she probably came home for summer break, went to the graduation, saw her friends. Even her mentioned the fact that she has I have a different group of friends at college, but it's a different thing. It's not the same. I didn't commit crimes with these people like I did with you guys. So
yeah. Also, the military had her under arrest for 6 months at least. So that's why she wasn't doing the show too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Were you going to say something else, Harrison?
I thought before I had mentioned that the guy who ran the squawk left town, which is why they were running it. But then it seems like he let me come back to guest host. Did he just come back? I guess after the military left.
I question whether he's a real person I know he's a real person, but they just were name dropping him. Do you guys remember his name? They mention him every show. They say
nope.
Fast Talk Ricky or something like that. I think is his name, Fast Talking Ricky. And she says, he let me come back. I don't think he's managing or supervising anything anymore, but they just say that so it sounds legitimate that they're running, that they're guesting on this radio station that is not being run by anybody anymore.
Were they getting paid?
I don't think so. It was all a front.
But they had I don't know.
Okay.
Robin was great.
Yes, she's very good. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and name my third one, and then we can catch Vera when she comes back. So my third character I'm gonna call out is Mike. So far, I think for me, I really liked Mike most in season 1, and since season 1, he hasn't done much for me. I found his performance a little unconvincing. In season 2, he's kind of whining and complaining. Season 3, he's mainly making out with 11, and then they have a breakup. And then season 4, he seems like he's pretty insensitive and not really emotionally aware of how people are feeling around him. So in this final season, I feel like they finally gave him some things to do, some important things to say. He has, of course, the big speech at the end with the storyteller and the role there. It didn't always line up for me that Mike was the heart of the group. I only really saw that maybe in season 1. But I feel like they brought that back, gave him a little more what to do. So I think that, I just want to call out Mike for his big scenes here at the end. I thought he did a good job, much better than he's been doing in a while.
Yeah, I like Mike. I like the whole season is that Mike basically meets this girl with superpowers and kind of falls in love.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that should have been more of the focus in this final part of the show. They tried to kind of squeeze it in at the end, oh no, don't kill yourself, whatever. But I didn't feel it as much as I should have. They should have had a lot more of Mike and 11 together and wanting that happy ending. But don't get it.
Okay, Vera, welcome back.
Hi, sorry about that.
No, that's fine. So this would be your number 2. I know.
I guess Murray.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they gave him a lot to do, but I like
he
that
blew up a helicopter.
Even though he didn't really have any close ties to these people, he blew up a helicopter for them, and that's something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dig it.
Okay, so then that takes us to Raul for your third.
My third has got to be Steve again. No, I'm kidding. It's got to be Lucas. I really like the growth that Lucas has had throughout the show, and I like him in this last episode. And he steps up. He saves Dustin from being crushed. For a second, you think it's Steve, and I love that it wasn't Steve. It's somebody else, and he's the jock. This guy's athletic. It makes sense that he was able to run, dive, grab Dustin, and roll with him. And so I was with him. And on top of that, he's the only one that ends up in a relationship at the end of this, unlike Steve, as we all know. And it's with my second character that I mentioned, Max. She's dope. So I approve of their relationship. I love how it ended. I thought it was very, very cute, and they felt very genuine to me. So yeah.
Yeah, I called him out in his I called him out in part 1 as one of my favorite characters for similar reasons. that
Mhm.
he was the one that became a jock and
Mhm.
is now using his skills to help his friends and is able to do things physically that probably the rest of them can't. Yeah. What were you going to say, Harrison? I cut you off.
I hope they have beautiful caramel babies.
Me too. They probably will.
All right, Vera, do you have a number 3 up your sleeve?
I'll go Hopper. Again, I don't think he was given much to do, but the stuff that he did have to do, the stuff with like Elle in the tank, that was one of the best scenes. And his little conversation with Mike at the end was really nice, and his closure with Joyce. So I'm just really happy that that character got his moments.
All right, Harrison, one more for you if you'd like.
Specifically for the finale, I really don't have anybody. For the final season overall, I think this was the best season for Will, specifically in Volume 1.
Yeah.
I enjoyed
He had
his
stuff to do.
Yeah, I enjoyed his growth as a character. I do think they regressed him at some parts that was unnecessary, and it kind of like just they needed to stretch it out over the whole season. But him coming into his own, using those powers from Vecna, his emotional growth, I enjoyed that. It's too bad he's going to get killed by Jeffrey Dahmer, though.
I
Did
saw
you guys
that
see that?
too. Yeah.
You guys saw that? That's a wild Easter egg to put in there.
Yeah.
What? I'm sorry. Can you?
That's it.
So at the end, in the flash forward, when Mike is talking to the group, you see Will is at a bar meeting either a friend or a boyfriend or whatever. But like Jeffrey Dahmer is standing there, right, like looking at him.
What
in
do
the
you mean,
background.
Jeffrey Dahmer? Like the character who plays Jeffrey Dahmer in the
No,
Netflix?
like somebody who is dressed identically and has the same glasses as and haircut as pictures of Jeffrey Dahmer.
That
and
is so
that is
messed
where
up.
and Will lives like in the city now. I think he lives now where Jeffrey Dahmer was. So it's like a weird thing that they just put in there, like, oh, by the way,
Oh.
Jeffrey Dahmer is watching Will.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's interesting because I don't know how many. If I put it in the Fog Discord, either Vera, the thing about Steve buying a house in Forest Hills is very bleak because that's where the staircase house is. So it's like, why did you? In that rooftop scene, he talks about I'm going to buy a house in Forest Hills, and it's like, why would you? You know, of course, it's fun for all of us Durham people to know about the staircase house, but it's a little bleak. Yeah.
I don't know about the staircase house. All right.
The staircase.
We have to look into this.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, it's a rabbit hole.
All right.
All right. So I think we're done with characters. We're ready to move on to quotes. Does anyone have any favorite quotes you want to bring to the table? Raul, you get first pick this time. So we'll do 3 rounds.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1 favorite quote. I'm gonna go with. I was just kind of going for like a bit of a Belushi thing, but if he was like in a Hughes film, does that make sense? Like, I love that line, I love that moment, and I love her reaction to that line.
Okay, who said it? Okay.
Dustin says it, and it's when the popular girl approaches him, and she's like, "I just thought that what you said was really cool." And he says, "I was just going for like a Belushi thing, but if he was in a Hughes film, does that make sense?" And she goes, yeah. Totally, yeah. Like, and she clearly doesn't. And he's like, yeah. And then she walks away and he goes, what did I say? It's so great.
Oh my God.
Dustin is so great, man.
All right, Vera.
Harrison mentioned it earlier, but it's when Erica and Mr. Clark are in the tower and she says, this is an intro to science. The situation demands cussing. I love her. She's so funny.
All right, Harrison.
If I could think of one, I don't remember it exactly, but it is when Hopper is talking to Mike and he's saying, like, you push people away and it's because you think you deserve to be alone, but there are people who love you. And the only reason I'm choosing this quote, and this is going to be the only quote I choose, I don't have 2 more, so this is it for me, and this is something else you can see online, people pointed out, when Hopper is talking to Mike, when he says this, he looks away from Mike and he looks somewhere else. And people are assuming he's saying that to 11, letting her know that you don't have to be alone, because they assume that she was watching them, or he hopes that she hears him. So, because if you look at his eyes, he's looking at Mike, then he just looks away, says that, and then looks back. So,
all right, so it's to me. My first one is when they're in the high school in 1950s, Max, Levin, and Collie. And they're like, "Oh, is that Joyce?" And then Max says, "Oh, yeah." And through that door, Hop sneaking a joint. Mr. Wheeler is feeling up Mrs. Wheeler. I wish we had time to sightsee.
Yeah.
And of course, we're all like, "Yeah, we want to see all of those people too. Please." All right, Raul, got a quote for us?
Yeah, my second one is screw the system, screw conformity, screw everyone and everything trying to hold you back and tear us apart because this is our year. It's also said by Dustin in his speech.
Awesome. Vera.
In case you didn't know.
It's Lucas's line, but I think the line that precedes it is Nancy says, like, we're interdimensional travelers, and then Lucas says, "Suck it, Armstrong."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
My second one is Hopper when Murray's talking about what he set up, and then Hopper says, "Nice job, bald eagle." And they just always have to have these funny little names for each other, and I love it. And it's a Murray moment, too, because it's connecting Hopper and Murray. So, Raul, you got number 3.
Oh, man, I have to choose between these 3. Hold on. I guess I'm going to go with the... Oh, God, this is tough. Okay, I'm going to go. There's some good lines. I'm going to go with... So after all that, Strahd von Douchebag wins. This game is bullshit. And it's said by Max when she complains about the ending of the game. And anybody that's played D&D, Strahd is a douchebag. So, yeah. I loved it.
I had this on my short list of ones, too, so that's a good one. Vera.
My last one is Hopper's proposal when he says, "Will you spend the rest of your life with a tired, grumpy, stubborn old man who loves you very much, but only because immediately after my husband turned to me and said, 'That's why I love Hopper. That guy's me.'" And it's true. They're the same person.
It's awesome.
So my last one is the man in the mine shaft when he says to Henry, "You must resist it. It will consume you." I just thought it was a really good line and was appropriate for the moment that they find this, or he finds this suitcase, picked up this stone, and it was just a good, powerful quote. Not too unique. Sounds like the kind of quotes we've probably heard before, but, it worked in that moment. I guess because that's what happened to him. All right, we're now going to move into needle drops. And so, Vera, you can go first if you're able. Did any of these songs from the finale really stand out to you as working?
I'm going to say Heroes because it comes up in all the poignant moments in the series. But this is the first time that they've done the Bowie version.
Harrison, you're up next.
I really like When Doves Cry. I do not feel that needle drop carried any significant weight like Running Up That Hill did in the previous season. It was just fun to hear. And I don't have any more after that. I know there's that Purple Rain is on there too, but it's like they just started throwing in 80 songs at that point. But yeah, When Doves Cry. Great. Always love to hear it. Always love to hear that song, even though they wasted it.
Well, I've already mentioned the power of Sweet Jane by the Cowboy Junkies on the rooftop scene. So that's the one that I'll stick with. That, I wasn't expecting to hear that song. It was just a perfect nostalgia song for that time, I think. And Raul, how about you?
Yeah, Harrison almost stole mine, which is Purple Rain. It stood out so strongly because, hot take, I truly dislike that song.
But you like that needle drop?
No. It's just, you said that stood out. It stood out to me. And I was like,
you're saying
Rain.
it
Get
stood
out
out.
of here,
You're
Purple
saying
Rain.
it stood out for a bad reason?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
I think they could have gone with a Bad Bunny song,
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. I thought there was also a double punch with Here Comes Your Man by the Pixies. That's a really cool song, too. What were you going to say, Raul?
Yeah. I was just going to say it's a tough ask for me because, I've been quoted many times saying that, the 80s is the worst music decade. And so for me, I don't like a lot of the music in this show overall throughout the entire, series. So it's a tough ask to be point out a song you loved. It's pretty much going to be none of them.
I got to bring up Trooper. I love Trooper, and I was so happy that it got featured.
When did they play that song?
Was it
during the graduation? Was it during the graduation scene when Dustin?
It may have been. It was near the end. It was in the epilogue somewhere. But it felt like another homage to Eddie, because Eddie did Remember the Sandman in the previous season, and so it felt like his genre coming back in like another a way that Dustin is tributing his friend. And it's just a really great, the imagery in the song is brilliant.
We're gonna go directly into our top 10 moments. So this is for the show as a whole. Any season, I asked each of our panelists to come up with their top 10 moments of the show. And because this is very personal and important, I'm not going to say you can't have the one because such and such had it too. So we're going to do our round robin. We'll be starting with Harrison. Harrison will name, these aren't in particular order, so you don't have to save anything. You'll say like one of your top 10, and then if you also had that as your top 10, you can add that in.
So I think it's season 1, episode 8. Steve beating up the Demogorgon with the spiked bat.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's great.
My first one.
That's where everybody fell in love with Steve. They're like, this guy's okay,
Yeah.
Because, he showed up at the house. Everybody's thinking, oh, no, he's going to die. But that's when he officially joined the group and stuck around forever. So, yeah, Steve beating up the Demogorgon with the spiked bat.
Okay. Well, that was also in my top 10.
And mine.
I wrote it. Yours too, Raul?
Yeah, I did not submit a form, though.
You didn't. That's fine. You don't have to submit a form.
But it is in mine, yeah.
Yeah, I said Steve, Nancy, and Jonathan fighting the Demogorgon together. Steve with the spike back. All right. So what's that? Okay, that actually leaves it to me to say something. Okay, my second is Will's triumph over the hive mind. So that's in season 5. Him feeding those Demogorgons, and really any time he's attached to that hive mind. This would be in part 1 of season 5, the ending moments of part 1 when Will takes over. Yeah. What's a scene you want to shout out, Raul? You're not.
Listen, man, there's several Steve scenes. Steve in the tunnels is my next one. He drops down to help combat the hive down there with Dustin and the boys. And this is when he's like big bro to the max in the series. And yeah, Steve in the tunnel. I'm pretty sure he has a spike bat there as well. And he takes charge, and he's going to try to light this place on fire.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, Vera, it's to you.
Bob's death in season 2.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Bob.
Yeah. And it's not because it's a great scene. That's in my list as well. It's done so well. It's sad. And it's like, it's not that I loved seeing it, but like what a impactful moment in the series. It really is one of the most impactful moments in the entire series. Yeah.
Yeah. It's where the show, like, it's one of the ways the show really shined early on.
Yeah.
Oh, it's to you now, Harrison. What's another scene you want to shout out?
Season 4, episode 9. Eddie playing Master of Puppets on his guitar in the Upside Down. 6th scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's on my list too.
Okay. And so my next one is 11 flips the van.
Yeah.
It's like it's an iconic scene
episode
from that
7.
Yeah, from that first season, and call back to E.T. obviously.
That's when she first murders people.
That's one way to think about it. All right, Raul, what moment do you want to call out next?
Next moment is Steve and Robin in the stall where he confesses that he has a crush on her, and then she has her confession. And first off, very funny, and then very touching. And I thought it was really, really well directed, really well delivered from both of them. Beautifully awkward. Yeah, that scene was, I think, when I first saw it, exceptional, and every time I've seen it since, yeah, it's one of my favorite scenes.
All right, I think we're now to Vera.
I'm gonna go with Max and the running up that hill scene from season 4.
Classic.
Absolutely iconic visuals in that, and just, I think, relatable to anybody who's felt any like weight, whether it's depression or grief or whatever, and just like struggling to run away from that. I think metaphorically it works really well for a lot of people.
Okay, Harrison.
I'm going to go with season 4, episode 9. Vecna actually kills Max. she dies. And I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty dark. I thought she was dead. Of course she comes back this season, but wow, that's how you end a season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It was an epic build up too with that. Yeah. All right. My next one is going to be Steve and Dustin on the railroad tracks, talking about that Farrah Fawcett spray and giving the secrets of Steve's hair while also solidifying their relationship as best friends.
Man, I forgot about that scene. That's a great scene.
It's in the credits. It's one of the scenes they drew in the credits. So obviously it's very memorable.
Yeah.
All right, Raul, that sends it over to you.
My next one is Eddie's conversation in the woods with Chrissy, where she's buying drugs from him.
Mm-hmm.
At that scene, I remember it's the first time we see, because like first he seems like this crazy dude. You know, he's like a DM, but he's kind of like, he's older than everybody else, and he's kind of a jerk, and he's rebellious, and he talks down to the younger people, and then in this scene is the first time that we see the Eddie that Dustin sees. You know, that so many people miss. He was so sweet to her. She was so scared, and even though he was selling drugs, like he was a drug dealer with a heart of gold, and that's the first time we see it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like that scene a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
It's
Vera.
crazy how.
Oh, go ahead. We're gonna comment, Harrison.
Just about, man, his career took off.
It did.
Career took off. Yeah.
It took off.
That's
why he couldn't come back.
Exactly.
I interpreted a Stranger Things panel after season 4 came out, and he was on it. And I've been interpreting cons for like over 10 years now. I've never seen a line like I saw for people to come and see, and the number of Hellfire t-shirts. Like, I've interpreted Star Trek panels where like there's never been a crowd as homogeneously dressed as just the sea of people in Hellfire t-shirts, to the point where they had to do a second panel after the first one because there were just so many people that they had to turn away. They had to move to a bigger room, and then they filled that room. It was insane.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's popularity after that character.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it.
All right, well, Vera, you're on the mic, so go ahead and give us your next one.
I'm going to go Starcourt Mall montage with Elle and Max. I loved like the how they showed their cute teenage girl friendship at the mall. Very relatable to me.
Yeah. All right, my next one is Steve and Robin exasperating the Russians when they were questioning them, and they had given them, what did they give them? LSD? What did they give them? I don't know, but
it's like the truth. It's the truth serum. Yeah. That's why they have the scene in the stall. They have like truth serum. Yeah.
Yeah, they're sort of it's sort of connected to that scene, but yet I just thought it was hilarious, all that stuff, and they're wearing their ridiculous Scoops Ahoy outfits with their knee socks, and it's all just so funny.
Yeah, it's a great scene.
Raul, we're back to you.
All right, man, I can't believe that I put this one like as I was writing them in order, like, and nobody's taking it. Like I said it earlier, it's Dustin and Susie singing "Never Ending Story." Like I went and watched it again.
Never Ending Story's on mine too.
That's on my list. Yeah,
it's so fantastic. It's so great. It's so well cut because you're cutting between everybody's reactions, and it's so wonderful. You cut to Hopper and Mrs. Byers, and he's like, "What?" And she puts her head against the wall, like, "Oh my god!" And it's such a great scene. And then at the very end, they're like, "No, I love you, multiplied by the stars. No, I love you." And Erica just turns it off. She's like, "Enough." Like, even a great Erica moment. Yeah, that scene is great.
All right, my next one is Eddie telling Steve why he jumped in. It wasn't because he's so brave. It's because those two girls jumped in first. And he goes on and explains how it's true love that is guiding Nancy to do what she did. So I just love that moment with him, and him being a truth teller, Eddie being a truth teller in that moment, and kind of seeing something that Steve hadn't. And although I'm sad that it didn't all end with a romance between Nancy and Steve,
I'm not sad.
I still love that. I still love that speech, and him kind of making Steve realize that these two girls really care about him, whether it's romantic or not.
I agree. That's a good scene.
Yeah.
But Nancy wasn't right for Steve.
All right, Raul, you're up next.
We're gonna say we're on to Eddie. Eddie's heroic end Like
Mhm.
he went out with a bang. He was very brave in the end. He refused to run away. And then his death was really, really nice with Dustin holding him, and him being like, I didn't run,
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a great, great, great moment. That to me, emotionally, I think matched with Bob's death.
So, Vera, you're up next.
Joyce and the Christmas lights.
Mhm.
Absolutely iconic imagery that I don't think will ever go away.
Yeah.
People will always be hanging those Christmas lights with the letters.
I had that on my list too. It was really hard to think of. I wanted to name scenes from all the seasons, but it was really hard to limit, especially the season 1 ones, because there's so many
Yeah,
iconic
there's so
ones.
many good
Yeah.
ones.
The real question is, how did Will even do that? It's never answered. The Christmas lights.
All right, Harrison, what's your next one?
It's not that one.
My next one is season 2, episode 7, the introduction of Callie/8. You have that whole scene where you're like, well, what's going on here? And with the cops chasing the van, and then it turns out that it was an illusion. And then you see the girl create an illusion, has a bloody nose, and you're like, oh snap, there's another kid with powers that are different from 11's. And I really enjoyed that episode. I love that introduction of her character, and I'm pretty sure the plan was that we were going to see more of the psychic kids, and they were all going to have like a different type of psychic power. But when the fans didn't care for that episode, they scrapped it and had Henry kill all those kids except for 8, since she was gone by that point. But that was them saying, nope, scrap that storyline.
It's not in my top 10, but I liked 8. I liked that episode, and I appreciate your unwavering love of Callie and, being her number 1 champion.
I'm one of
And
the
at some
haters of
point,
that episode.
I also thought like she was going to teach 11 to do that. I thought it was like they could each like learn each other's abilities. Like, because I think Henry can kind of create illusions. So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and like all of their powers come from him. So I thought like 11 would also learn that ability, but that does not happen.
Okay. I have Vecna's origin story, like the whole buildup of him telling, I guess, Nancy, it is that he's telling Nancy, or maybe part of it was, yeah, I think he tells Nancy his origin story, and we see how he got to be Vecna. And let's see, Raul, we're to you.
What number are we on?
We're
Whatever.
not, well, it's
Yeah.
when you run out of your top 10.
Okay. My next one, Dustin running up the stairs trying to stop Nancy from shooting that force thing that was holding the wall intact. I thought it was really intense, like him trying to get up there, the radio not working, him running up the stairs. He's like, stop, don't do it. Like that whole sequence I thought was really, really good.
Yeah, and then she does it anyway.
She can't hear him. They broke the radio.
Okay, this is my last one because everything else has been mentioned. So the final one on my top 10 is the Battle of Starcourt Mall, and I could
Yeah, that's a good one.
probably say in general, like Starcourt Mall itself, that set piece is a super piece of nostalgia for me. But yeah, the battle scene in particular at the end. You said you had that in there in your list too, Vera?
No, but
Oh.
it's a good one.
All right.
I do have 2 more on my list. Does
Okay.
anyone else have more?
Yeah, me too.
I have more.
All right. My next one is in season 5 when Hopper shoots Al, or thinks he shoots Al in the container, and then breaks it out and finds out that he's just been the only person who I guess got mind flayed in that episode. For me, like it actually took my breath away. I actually thought that he shot her. I did not think that it was a fake out. So it worked for me.
Now, none of those bullets hit her though. Like none of them. Like he did shoot it.
I don't even know if he really shot it or if it was in his head.
I don't think he would have been able to break the glass if there weren't bullet holes.
But they didn't go through the glass.
Yeah, maybe it was just
they
really
hit
thick
the glass. Yeah,
maybe
they didn't go through.
Somewhat bulletproof. How did they get water in there? There's questions. But anyway, she didn't get shot.
Harrison. So Raul, you said you have 1 or 2 more?
Yeah, got 2 more. It's Dustin and Steve's conversation where he tells him like, I can't lose anybody else. Like I like that scene a lot. Again, incredible performance, especially from Dustin. But yeah, that scene was so dope. And then seeing like, obviously that's why Dustin is distraught. He's lost somebody so close to him. And like seeing Steve get in danger like that and risk himself like that, he was just like, I can't do this. And he broke down. It was great.
Yeah, all the moments leading up to that, like of Dustin being kind of a jerk, were like were really well paid off with that scene of like, it was just so good.
So good.
All right,
Yeah.
Vera, I think you're up next.
My last one is season 1, the first time that Elle sees a demigorgon, like in that black void space that she goes to, and it's like leaning, I think it's like eating a person or something, but like the first time she sees the demigorgon and the demigorgon turns around, that is intense and cool.
Now that you think about it, like, yeah, the demogorgon was eating a person.
Yeah.
Like,
The
how?
creature,
What?
yeah,
How did that happen?
I don't know.
I guess that's what demo.
Yeah, but there's no people where it was.
Drags somebody. It would drag people and stuff inside the tree.
Yeah, it used to kidnap people much more often. Then it just like slashed them and left them. But I was always under the impression that they all ate people.
Yeah, it like drags that. What's her friend's name?
But also, that was only one. Weren't there like tons of? What were the? Yeah, I don't want to think about it anymore. There's just so much wrong with their world building.
All right, Harrison, you're up.
I'm gonna go season 5, episode 8, where we get the flash forward of what everybody's doing in the future, how their lives are. People in college, people, living their lives. That was one of the few fun moments of this disappointing season.
All right,
Raul? You didn't like it?
Oh,
It was fine. Unless you're making a joke, and then bravo.
Yeah.
All right, Raul.
My last one is, I just realized it's also a quote, which is when they're at the pizzeria and he walks in and he's gonna ask the guy to use the freezer, and the guy's like, the kitchen closed like 5 minutes ago, so no pies. And then he goes, "That's all right, my dude. We're not here for your tasty pies. You see this weird girl behind me?" And then Elle like smiles. He's like, "She has superpower," and he starts like explaining that they got to save the world because with this girl that has superpowers, but they need their freezer. Like that it's so fun. I love that moment.
Yeah, I like
for
that.
Your tasty pie.
The stuff of
Argyle.
Yeah, Argyle. Thank you. In that season, especially when he's like, "Yeah, you got to be well fed to go into the mine to have a mine fight." And was that?
And then he does the pineapple pizza. He's like, "Try before you deny." That guy's
Argyle.
So matter of fact and so right all the time.
Mm-hmm. He really is.
Yeah. Okay, so we had a poll. We did manage to get a good little list here, so I'll just read these out. And some of them are the same ones that we mentioned. We have Will's triumphs over the Demogorgons.
Mm-hmm.
Max's running up the hill scene. No surprise there. 11 saving Mike at the quarry. She's our friend and she's crazy. That's from season 1. Eddie Munson's epic guitar scene, season 4. Steve going back to fight demos alongside Jonathan and Nancy, season 1. Dustin and Susie, never-ending story, season 3.
Mm-hmm.
Heating up the possessed Will in the outbuilding, season 2. And the sauna scene with Billy, season 3. The snowball from season 2. And the final scene with the group playing D&D, season 5. And I am giving an honorable mention from podcaster known as DM Philly, because he's been talking about Stranger Things a lot too, and he said one of his favorite moments that he couldn't fit onto his top 10 but wanted to call out, and I thought it was very specific, so I wanted to give it a mention here. Murray realizing that because he defeated Jeremiah, he can defeat Yuri as well. And this is on the plane in season 4 when he's reasoning about that his opponent Jeremiah. Okay, so we're here pretty much at the end. But I did want to do a couple more rounds that I'm hoping won't be too long, because this has gone longer than I expected so far. So I wanted to ask everybody, if you could, to please talk about what will you take away from this show. Now that it's over, you're looking at it as a whole. We know Harrison's unhappy, and he's going to write a strongly worded letter to the Duffer Brothers. But as you think back on the history of this show and almost a decade of watching it, what do you take away from the experience of Stranger Things?
Who's first?
A good question. I think the last round we did our top 10 and Harrison went first, so it's supposed to be me. Well, dang. Okay. I think this is a show I didn't want to watch at first. It was a show that a friend sort of forced upon me. Every time I saw this friend, they were telling me about some show they would absolutely think that I was going to love. They were usually wrong, but because our tastes are completely different. They're all into epic fantasy. I like thrillers, crime dramas, horror.
Librarians.
Yeah. But we started watching the show, and what I think I appreciate so much about the show is it does draw in, similar to Cobra Kai, it draws in people of different age groups. Obviously, our generation, looks at this as nostalgia and kind of a revisiting of the way things were when you grew up. Whereas people from the younger generations, look at the kind of universal experiences of these kids as something they can relate to. And of course, fantasy is a universal genre too that encourages people of all ages. But I think it's getting back to that time of being young, and the world is a scary, risky place. And this approaches that from the wrapper of horror. But it's true that as you kind of leave childhood behind, it's coming of age, and you say, okay, the world is a risky place that's not safe, and there are things out there that you may not be prepared for yet. But when you're able to approach these things with a community and with people by your side that can help you through it, I see it as kind of a metaphor for growing up and realizing that the world is not safe, and finding how you can approach that and how you can handle it. So, Raul, what do you have to say about it?
And the show tells us that D&D can be cool, and also that we are capable of more than we believe we are. I thought that was a nice message to put out, because it's these people that no one expects anything of. They save the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people should have, most people that know me would argue I have too much confidence, but I think the rest of the world needs more confidence, especially these kids. So I like that this is saying, like, listen, you're capable of so much more than you think you are. And even that the world thinks you are.
Mm-hmm. All right, Vera.
When Stranger Things first came out, it was kind of among one of the first to do the nostalgia, specifically the 80s nostalgia thing. And at the time, that was really fun and unique. I was born in 85, and so the later half of the 80s, early 90s vibe that the show seemed to catch was a lot of fun to revisit. I thought that they did it really well. I really liked the movie. What was it? 8mm? Is that the name of it?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You
And
mean Super 8?
yeah, Super 8. Thank you. When
Oh,
Super 8
8mm
first
is
came
another
out.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Super 8
Yeah.
makes more sense.
Super 8. So when Stranger Things came out, I was like, oh, that's giving me Super 8 vibes. I was really excited for it. I liked how they captured sort of the dynamics of childhood. I liked that they gave the children like agency in a way that we didn't see very often, and like actual children, and not just people in their late 20s acting like children, but actual like children getting to play this out, and some really iconic visuals that I think are going to be around for a long time. I'm like, I've got beside me my Stranger Things, like this is a makeup palette.
Oh, cool.
It's eyeshadow.
That's
like
cool.
Look at that. Like that is
That's cool.
sick. Right? Like that's the kind of like legacy that Stranger Things leaves behind with its creature design and its Christmas lights. And I'm just really happy that we got a Goonies style story. Regardless of how it ended, I'm happy on the journey that it took us on.
Mm-hmm. Well said. All right, Harrison.
Lindsay laughed.
I think overall, as a show, I did enjoy Stranger Things, even though the final season was weak, in my opinion. Season 4 is definitely peak Stranger Things. Like, if anyone asks, Stranger Things hit peak in season 4. That was like a 5 out of 5 star season for me. It was great. But I think the show will be carried by the memories that it created. And these kids are basically like this generation's Harry Potter kids. They grew up, they watched them grow up on TV, and they will, for the most part, go see what movies they will be in moving forward if they have careers. So yeah, like there's like just a lot. I remember having a Stranger Things party. Friends, we would buy some Eggos, buy a bunch of other little snacks, and sit there and binge the whole season. And it was fun. And I have fun memories of those. One of my best parts of this final season was like seeing the little clips from the previous season. But I enjoyed those moments more. Like when Mike first met 11. Like that was sweet. And seeing that again was sweet. So yeah, I think the show will be remembered fondly. And if they do indeed have a sequel series down the line, you can easily redeem one bad season with a great follow-up like they apparently did with like Dexter.
I guess we'll see in 2 days.
Yeah, I don't know
Can you
about
imagine?
Harmony Gate.
I don't know about a secret episode. That'd be cool though, but like I just
Harrison,
my brother-in-law.
Harrison emails all of us and he's just like, guys, I was dead wrong. This is the greatest season.
I would
If they
love
pull that off, that would be super
if they pulled
impressive.
something like that
Yeah.
off, I would love that. Like even my brother-in-law just texted me. He's like, it was fine. He said he enjoyed it basically because he's been watching it for all these years. And so, yeah,
Right.
kind of.
But there aren't that many TV shows that you came to the theater. So that was one of the cool things for
Breaking
me
Bad.
is that okay, I'm not saying I said not many, chill, okay? But just having that all play out too, and Harrison's like, they should do it as a movie, and then it was a movie. And Harrison was like, they should bring back 8, and then it was like, brought back 8. And then so as unhappy as you are, Harrison, they fulfilled a lot of your wishes. You just didn't like the way they did it. But
yeah, because they got lazy. They got $400 million.
Yeah. All right, so we need to wrap this thing up so everybody can go to bed. To conclude this, we're going to have all of you guys can share where people find you if you want to know more. Like, do you have channels, podcasts people listen to? Is there a social media account you want them to tap into? Whatever you would like to plug here at the end. So how about, Vera, how about you go first?
Sure. You can find me my sort of personal TikTok and or Instagram where I talk about sign language interpreting, growing up as a child of deaf adults. I do some cosplay and special effects makeup on those as well. Sometimes featuring sign language, sometimes not. It is at VPATS, VEEPATS, on both of those platforms. And you can also catch me on the Fear of God podcast in an episode coming up soon to launch their new year.
Awesome. All right. And how about Harrison?
Well, of course, you can find me on one. That is the number one of my stories whenever I make an appearance on one of Lindsay's podcasts. But otherwise, you can find me on most social medias except for TikTok at FlixFrog. If you want to follow me personally, is at MovieGuru23. I do a lot of movie reviews, TV reviews. Sometimes, I do some top 10s and stuff of that nature. I have 3 kids and I get no sleep. So like a lot of my stuff has been late this year. I have recorded all 3 of my reviews for volume 1, 2, and the finale for Stranger Things season 5. Haven't uploaded them yet. So I'll get all those uploaded and you can watch them and get my complete thoughts on how terrible this show ended. But I still do love it. Love these characters. I have great memories. And yeah, I think that's it for this guy.
Okay. How about Raul?
Yeah, you can find me at Minorities Report. Listen, socials, I hate the socials, but it's at MReport Pod, and then I'm also at the Raul Nevado. But I'm out there, I do the thing, and then little birdie said that MReport's going to be back soon, so you can keep an eye out for that as well. And yeah, and also you asked for recommendations, and I'm going to give them. Go watch Vox Machina and The Mighty Nine on Amazon. You should do it.
Okay. And of course, you can find me at oneofmystories.com. That's the number oneofmystories.com, or on most social media platforms at the number 1 of my stories. And that is it for our Stranger Things breakdown. If you listen to this epic discussion, congratulations. You're one of the good ones. And anybody else, we're glad you visited, however long you did. And that's it. So good night, everybody. And happy 2026.